Hello again. You've come back. It's nice and dark tonight, but you can hear the Anarch gangs on their motorcycles. Occasionally there's wildlife that skitters past, and you always have to wonder, is that a Nosferatu commanding a rat? Is it a gangrel commanding a dog or a wolf? These are the risks you must take. This is a populated world, and it is very rare that a domain holds but a single Cainite, including this one, small as it may be. Something we need to discuss, something I am told that you do not yet understand, is the nature of being a vampire. What is a kindred, a Cainite, a vampire? What is a blood-sucking leech? But a walking parasite. Surely there is more to it than that. After all, we could not have existed for thousands of years if all we were base predators. Surely there's more to it. It is a problem that has vexed many philosophers among our kind. Many Cainites have tormented themselves, twisted their beasts into tatters, wondering, is there more to it than the nightly grind of having to feed? And we have to hope that there is. What is a vampire? A vampire is hunger incarnate. It would be all too simple to say that we were hunger just for the blood, but let us focus on the blood first. No doubt you have sampled your first, your second, probably your third taste. Sometimes you may have felt like you could not control that hunger. That is natural. That will always be there with you. When a vampire claims they have mastered their hunger, I say they have merely found another crutch. They have found another way of venting that beast, that animal instinct inside that compels them to do something torturous and sinful. No, all vampires suffer the hunger. Every action you take, especially when you are called to rouse your vitae and compel it into some kind of action. For instance, you, of your clan, it is likely that at some point or other you will have tried to sway the emotions of a mortal, maybe to make them come back with you to a suitable place for feeding, or to pick their pocket a little easily. Maybe you just wanted to borrow some cash, and so you got in their head. You made them feel like you were their best friend. When you did that, there was a stirring, a quaking, a quivering inside you, the kind of which you would feel back when you were alive, when you were going for some intense job interview, maybe on your wedding day, maybe the first time you made love, that inbuilt fear. Maybe it was the fear you felt when you saw your dad, your father, the patriarch who used to hit you for reasons you never understood as a child, but you would go to him when he was an old man, a degenerate, a decrepit husk in a wheelchair, and yet you would still feel that shiver of fear inside. Something so innate, something so tied to the soul. That is our hunger. We cannot truly suppress it, we can only sate it. And so whenever we are compelled to do something, whenever we force our vitae into some grand action, we feel the need to feed. We can suppress that need to feed at great cost, or we can indulge it at the earliest possible opportunity. That has caught many vampires out, but it can also make a prince of a vampire. It can make a noble of a vampire that is respected within Elysium. A vampire that can control its hunger, and to at least a limited degree, is like the vampire that can control its beast, because it is more likely that vampire can hold title, can hold position, can garner respect, and not be prone to flying off into frenzy, into compulsion, as defined by their clan. Let us talk of compulsions briefly. All clans have them. We all belong to different clans, different bloodlines, and all of these sets of vampires, we all feel a different stirring, a different compulsion to act in a certain way when we suppress what is base and innate and desirable. That is when the antediluvian takes over our body and forces us into action. This is not the same as our clan banes. We all suffer them, we all suffer curses, and if you believe some rumours, they were curses levied upon us by our antediluvians. If you believe others, they were levied upon us by Cain. Some believe that it was God that cursed us, each with a weakness. But, of course, you would have to be of a certain religion and a certain faithful bent to believe that. What is definitely the case is we all suffer our own frailty. Some clans like to style it as a strength. The Ventrue, for instance, like to say that their refined taste is a strength. They will not feed off a peasant's blood. They will not feed off diseased blood. They will only feed off of this blood. No matter that this Ventrue only feeds from this type of vessel and this Ventrue only feeds from that. They claim that it is because they have refinement. To the rest of us we say, no, it is because you are too weak. You must maintain a herd comprised entirely of that kind of vessel to feel safe and secure. And yes, they can feed off of others, but they do not get nearly as much nourishment, not nearly as much satiation when they do so. The Bruja, they have tendency to frenzy, to lose control, to rage like a werewolf, because perhaps they are more in tune with their humanity, their beast, than any other clan. The Bruja, when they call it a strength, they say it is because they still have that spark of life within them. They say it is because they still know what it was to be human. They still feel passion, they still feel love, they still feel anger. They are not subdued, walking corpses like some of us. We see it as a liability. Is it any reason so many of them have gone anarch? It is because the Camarillo will not have them. And so it goes. All clans have their banes, all clans have their weaknesses. Some consider themselves stronger for them, but they are fooling themselves. We must manage them, we must handle them. But I talk of frenzy and I talk of the beast, and that may be something with which you are unfamiliar. When you were first created as one of us, when you were first embraced, and you awoke to the night, did you not feel the need to just tear your sire's throat out? And when you saw the thick, heavy, heady pulse of the first mortal you came across in your new form, you just wanted to eat them alive, rip their heart out and squeeze it, and make their end painful. Bring a savage end to that blood bag. That was your beast talking, and your beast can come in many forms. Your beast is a predator. It is the predator inside you. Some are decadent, some are sadistic, some are pure savagery. But we all have a beast, and we are all beholden to that beast, and some of us try and put that beast on a chain. Some try to command it. You look to the Sabbat. The Sabbat believe they have full control over their beast, but all I have to do is point at the Sabbat and say, well, is that truly the case? The Sabbat are, after all, the sect that indulge in the most acts of blood sacrifice. They are the sect that devour each other, that are prone to diablerie. They are the sect that run loose on mortal populaces and tear them limb from limb for fun. And they are the ones who control their beast. They say they control their beast because they feed it when they choose to. Whereas the Camarillo, they just try and keep it bottled up. And we all know what happens when you bottle up all that stress, all that anger, all that rage. Eventually it spills out at an inopportune moment, causes embarrassment. So long, Camarillo Vampire. There are some kindred who believe themselves masters of the beast, and I have known some who have never frenzied, not for centuries. Some claim they have found a state called Golconda. Golconda is a semi-mythical state. I have heard many talk of it. A pilgrimage of sorts, a state of enlightenment where you are perfectly in harmony with beast and hunger, where you may even be able to see the sun and tolerate it for a little while without it scorching the skin from your bones. They call this Golconda, that after great acts of sacrifice, self-sacrifice, of great acts of wisdom, of being in touch with one's inner humanity, you can finally find Golconda. Well, That is a nice dream. And whether it is true or not, let us assume that it is, because it is nice to have hope, and some of us pine for the time that we were mortal. Is Golconda truly a fine state? So few of us can reach it, but when we do reach it, is it true that you become an enlightened, holy, pure individual, or is it more the case that you become a shark, no longer driven by a savage beast? You are a fish, you are a reptile, you are cold-blooded. You just do what you will. You still drink blood, you still manipulate the kine, but now you have full faculties. You can't blame the beast, you can't blame the hunger. You do it because you want to. Is Golconda utopia, or is it true sin? I am no scholar on these things. I am a scholar on many things, but Golconda has always seemed a little too ephemeral for me. Some ask, what is a vampire biologically? Now, that is a subject I do know a little about. How do we walk? How do we talk? How do we think? Our bodies are dead. If you cut us, we do not bleed. We do not leak blood. We, of course, suffer the same harm to flame and corrosive material and the like that a mortal would, but many instruments of harm, bullets, blades, hammers, they barely leave a dent on our dead skin. How does the biology work? How do you make it make sense, if we're anything other than supernatural? For centuries I have studied the existence, the place in the natural cycle of vampires. Are we a natural element on this earth, or are we entirely supernatural? Which part of our bodies are still living to compel us? I have vivisected my share of vampires to find out what works and what doesn't, and I am sure the Second Inquisition have done the same thing. And we all come to the same horrifying conclusion. We are dead bodies. While the heart clearly contains some great spiritual power, because putting a stake through it does paralyze us, it does not kill us. Yes, if you decapitate a vampire, you will render the body to ash. The skull may survive in some strange circumstances, but somehow the severing of the head is enough to kill. So what is it about the head? What is it about the brain? I have cracked open a vampire's skull to see whether the brain is active and the rest is not. The brain is inactive. Like every other organ in the vampire's body, it is withered, it is a husk, it is deprived of moisture. Another question, where does the vitae go? When we drink, does it just sit in our empty stomach until we have cause to use it? Do we absorb it holistically like a sponge? Does it sit stagnant in our veins? Or is it, like so many other things, supernatural, ephemeral? It appears when we call to it, it disappears when we do not. And that is a great question, something I would long for a true answer to, and something I feel we will never find. I have seen vampires bloated like ticks, abdomen swollen, after feeding in a reverie. I have seen vampires who are fully fed, who look exactly the same as they did before. It is a great mystery, our kind, and the biology of, but I enjoy studying it. I enjoy seeking mysteries. I enjoy seeking their answers. And if you find any of those answers, do tell me. What is our place in this universe? It is a great question, and many philosophers have stumbled over it. Do we have a role? Did God put us here to test the kine, if you believe in such things? Or are, to go back to my original point, we just parasites, designed to ride on the bellies of mortal civilization, drink from them, and then pass on when they die? I suppose the only way of finding out is being around long enough to find out what our fate will be. Maybe when Gehenna comes and we meet our time of judgment, we will find out what the world has planned for us. But I have a fear it is significantly more mundane. That when the world ends, we will end. And when we end, the immortals will not miss us. There will be no mourning of our passing, because we hide. We do not exist, according to most kind, and perhaps it is better that way. Some kindred like to claim that they are immune to feelings of love, of passion, of lust, but that is clearly not true. If a vampire is capable of hatred, and a vampire is capable of anger, and we clearly are, of fear, of loathing, of paranoia, why should we be denied those feelings so often associated with positivity? We can feel love, we can attach ourselves to companions without the heady rush of vitae that bonds us. We can know love, but can love last as long as vampires last? Can we feel lust? Of course we can feel lust. Just because we are dead does not mean we still lack the attractions that we gained in life. You could take it to its natural extreme and look at obsession and say, vampires do not feel these healthy emotions, they feel obsessed, fixated. It is a jaded, a cynical view of the way we act, but there may be some truth to it. When I cast my mind back to my relationship with my prince for so many years, was that loyalty? Was it love? Was it obsession? Or was he sneaking me vitae to guarantee my slavery to him? I cannot know. All I know is that I diligently served and stood by his side until he had no further use for me. What is a vampire? There are many pithy responses to this. A vampire is a human being with many grave and terrible flaws, with terrible urges that we struggle to control, that some mortals would look upon and think we should not be on this earth, but this earth is ours just as much as it is theirs. While they will not come to know us, we know them. And while they will not feed from us, we will feed from them, because we have every right to survive. We have just as much right to survive as they do. And whether you believe we are cursed by God or blessed by Cain, that does not matter. We exist. And until some almighty, omniscient figure strikes us all down, we will continue to exist, and we will continue to prey on the weak. Because we are predators. What are you? You are a neonate with much to learn. What am I? An elder with great experience. But in the end, we are the same as we were before we were embraced, just with diabolical hungers and sinful urges.